Hi guys, welcome back to The Contented Plant. Today we are going to rehab slash basically make a brand new plant out of my poor Tradescantia Zebrina. It is just not doing well. That is completely my fault. This is one of my plants that I've just kind of sat off in a corner and I walk by it a lot, just kind of going like this because I know it needs a lot of attention. So it's kind of in this state and it is completely my fault. So we're going to chop it up and take off the good parts and see if we can just make a brand new plant out of it, and we're just going to scrap the rest. So I have been putting this off, but there's a few reasons why this plant looks the way that it does. One is it desperately needs to be repotted. I don't like the potting medium that the nursery put it in. It's very thick and heavy around the roots, and I've actually tried to completely take it apart and break off that potting medium, but it is so tightly compact around those roots that I just end up snapping huge sections of the roots off. So I think it's best that we just propagate this into a brand new plant. This plant propagates very, very easily. So what we're going to do is repot it into a new little pot and make it into a soil-based propagation. Tradescantias grow roots extremely fast. They do really well when you put them in moist soil. I've actually done that with this one a few times. I just put the vines back into it and they will just continue to grow and get new vines coming from that propagation very, very quickly. So I have no doubts it will be just fine if we do that. You can kind of see on this one, the bottom part of this vine does not look very good. It's starting to yellow, but this plant is trying to survive against all odds. It still puts out these fresh new spots. This is like a beautiful purple vine and it's sitting on the end of this vine that's just not doing very well. And that's what this plant does. It kind of keeps on putting out new life. So I just can't justify tossing it in the trash. So we're going to try and give it a fresh new start. I'm excited to have this plant in a potting mix that actually works for it. I have my favorite potting soil, some perlite, a little bit of orchid bark, something that's going to keep a nice light airflow around those roots and is not going to be super compact. I'm also excited to make this into a smaller plant. It is quite large. It's probably about 3 feet long, and I've had it in a corner where the light wasn't great. It was surviving, but obviously not thriving. And honestly, it's barely surviving now too. So I'm gonna move it back over to this window when it's a smaller plant, and we're going to put it in better lighting conditions and see how it does. I'm not quite sure how many cuttings I'm gonna be able to get from this. I only wanna take the healthiest vines, so I have a small pot and a bigger pot. I think this one's a 4-inch and this one's a 6-inch. So I'm gonna start with the 4-inch, and if we need to, we will move up to the 6-inch. Okay, so we will essentially be performing surgery on this poor plant. I have my towel here where I'm going to lay out all the cuttings. I have some clean, sterilized scissors, and I have our potting mix sitting here. Okay, so for Tradescantias, we want to cut right in this internodal spacing here. The node is right at these joints, so what you want to do is just chop right in that internodal spacing. So for this vine, it's actually healthier at the top than it is at the bottom part. So I'm going to be taking some of this top section here that I like and discarding the bottom. Okay, so there's our first little cutting. You can see this one is actually quite healthy and pretty. It has nice striping on it. So that one we're definitely going to be saving. So this is kind of what we're left with after dissecting and chopping the large parts of the vine off. You can see this is kind of my dead mother plant that will be getting tossed. I still have some viability in these stems, but I'm only going to be taking the parts of these that look really nice and healthy. You can see this one looks really, really great. So I will go ahead and take a cutting from this vine. A lot of these larger sections, even if they're not dead yet, they're kind of on their way to dying. You can see the leaves look really pale and just not healthy, not in great condition. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm probably not gonna take any of these big sections that just don't look very healthy. We have enough here from these smaller vines to make ourselves a really nice little plant here. So that's what I'm gonna focus on. I'm just gonna take these healthy parts that are the end of the vine that I know will propagate easily and make a beautiful little new plant. So we are going to make our soil nice and moist here. You can see there's a node down at the bottom of this one. So all you're going to do is stick it right down in the soil, and that's just gonna grow from there. It's pretty easy to propagate these. I'm gonna just stuff this full so I have a nice new full plant of Tradescantia. So you remove the bottom leaf and that'll make things a lot easier because then you have a better point to stick down into the soil. So we now have this really cute little pot. I was able to put 11 vines in here, so that's gonna make a really nice full plant down the road. I'm going to be placing this right in this window where it gets really nice light. It's in moist soil, so that should encourage those vines to root very quickly. Eventually, I'm gonna convert this into a hanging plant because I think it'll just do really well sitting in a window. I'm not gonna put it in a corner anymore because I just don't think it was getting enough light back there. I hope this helped you guys out. If you have a plant that needs to be chopped and propped, don't be afraid. You can always convert it into a new mini plant if the mother plant is just not doing well. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you next time at The Contented Plant. Bye-bye.